All right. So who's got the intro?
Is Christy working on that?
I was.
And? Welcome back, everyone, to another Natty 19 podcast.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gents, for another night with the Natty 19 crew. We've got Swaney here,
Hey, what's up?
Charlie,
Hi.
and of course my husband, Jonathan, my lovely husband. Ooh, I'm Jonathan. I'm a DM.
And I feel left out.
Oh yeah, don't forget.
I wasn't done mocking my husband. We also have K-Way here with us tonight.
Hello, hello.
And we've got a Wesson sitting back there too, but he's doing he's on soundboard.
He's drunk, passed out on the couch.
Making death faces.
All right, and I am back. Nobody was making fun of me while I was gone, were they?
No.
All right, cool. All right, carry on. You were doing a great job with the intro.
We're putting a little hair on the dog, and we're ready to give you guys a good show.
Yep.
Let's get into it.
On the Natty 19 podcast. All right. Where did we leave off? You guys are all level 6. Do we want to talk about that? Roll some hit points real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll some hit points.
Why don't we start with Quincy? Yours is what, a D4?
D8.
All right. I'll let it go. 4.
4.
Ooh.
And I don't have a con bonus, so that's 4 hit points for Quincy. That's lower than the
The huge.
Huge. Well, yeah.
And it is 1 point lower than the fix. That's right. Copernicus.
D8.
Is it a D8? Okay. 1.
Oh, I thought that was a 1. It's a 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn for Copernicus.
7 plus con makes it a total of 9 hit points.
9.
That's juicy.
9 hit points. Not bad. Zavril, what do you got?
I got a D10.
A D10 for Zaves. All right, let's see. Give me higher than a 2. Oh, 3.
Whoa.
But I do get a con bonus, so
What's your total at?
5.
So you got 5 hit points.
Welcome to my world.
All right, Irme.
Still better than
What is it?
Quincy.
A D4?
It's a 6.
All right, Irame, do good.
2. Beat a 2.
Fuck.
2.
Oh, Irame.
Irme gets
fuck?
wrecked on hit point
does,
rolls.
yeah.
This sucks.
Do you have any con bonus?
Yeah, I got 4. Total of 4.
Not bad.
Not bad.
That's what Quincy
Not
got.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
4.
bad, but
Yeah, you need a good break. You need to get like
I
a
do.
max.
Yeah. So what's everyone's total hit points now?
I am now at 29.
Quincy's at 40.
Copernicus is at 48, and K-Way's at 48.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you know
Like
what? I
60.
should probably be
60?
updating this in the...
K-Way's got 60 hit points. Zavril has 60 hit points.
Yep.
Excellent. We need a guy like that.
I always try to stand out in the front lines. It just doesn't work out too well.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about our leveling up at all? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys can do that while I update this in Fantasy Grounds here.
Let's go in the same order. Quincy.
Quincy took a level in Rogue.
No way.
Whoa.
You did? You're
Oh,
split
yeah.
classing?
Split class.
Jealous.
He's been watching Orvex fighting, and he's been feeling just a little bit ineffective when it comes to the melee combat. You know, he'll do some inspirations, he'll do some heals, but he wanted more melee capabilities. So I think the sneak attack is going to give him a little bit more confidence in that
No.
regard.
This is not your first foray into the rogue world either.
No, in our Out of the Abyss campaign, I played primarily what was a rogue.
Right.
You have commitment issues.
I do. I like to multi-class.
What was that guy's name?
Rashad.
Rashad. That's right. How could I forget? The
Yeah.
piss drinker.
The
Rashad
piss drinking
Al-Khan.
barbarian.
All right, that sounds bad when it's out of context. You'll have to listen to the Abyss campaigns. Understand.
All right. Do you guys want to know what Copernicus got?
No.
Okay. Moving right along. I have a new skill at 6th level with Warlock. I get a Cursed Spectre. So when a humanoid dies once per long rest, I can raise them as a specter.
Ooh.
Awesome. This sounds kind of familiar. Did we run into this in our special 1920, episode 19?
I think
Well,
so. I
when-
think the Wraith had that
Wraiths,
ability. Yeah.
All right.
So you're becoming a little more
there's-
Wraith-like.
He's getting more and more necromantic, and that's why I've always wanted for him is to go down that path, that kind of a darker path. That's why I picked up Infestation as a cantrip before in the past and things like that. For spells now, I finally got Thunderstep. I got rid of the Branding Smite and got Thunderstep and Counterspell.
All right.
But other than that, not much different.
Not bad. Irme, what did you get for level 6 stuff?
I got another sorcery point, which is pretty awesome because I could now, for instance, do any meta magic that requires 2 sorcery points 3 times a day rather than just twice. And I also got the Bend Luck ability added to my meta magic. It uses 2 sorcery points and it allows me to add or subtract a d4 roll from a creature's, I think it's ability checks, saving throws, and attacks.
Interesting. Yeah.
So ultimately it's a buff or a debuff depending on if I use it on a friend or foe. And for another spell, because I gained a spell slot, I chose Slow. I initially was going to choose Web because I wanted a snare, but I did it quickly until Swaney here read Slow to me. I hadn't even bothered reading the spell, and I liked that one more, so I went with Slow. I also switched out a spell. I had Crown of Madness, which I had never used, so I switched that out for another debuff of sorts.
What'd you get for a debuff?
I chose Hold Person.
Ooh.
It's a concentration, and I always kind of try to shy away from those for some reason.
Yeah, you definitely
good-
don't want a spell book full of them.
Yeah,
watch
you
out for
tie your
that.
hands, So, yeah, but I liked it. It's a wisdom saving throw, or they're paralyzed, so
Cool.
could be useful.
Mm-hmm.
That is all. Oh, I got 4 new hit points, as you all know. It was awesome.
What about Zavril?
Zavril got a new favored enemy and a new favored terrain. So first off, with the way Copernicus is going, I think he's going to be my new favorite enemy. Zavril's still kind of traumatized by being abused and tortured by the Yuan-Ti. So he selected the monstrous type as far as his favorite enemy goes. And then, with Chult being an island, he went with a coastline, his second favorite terrain.
Oh, cool. Yeah, makes sense. All right. So, I believe we left off outside of the shrine of Kubazan.
I think we just got Riga out of the giant frog.
That is correct. And you guys were standing before the door of this second shrine. Now, after that brutal experience at the shrine of Shigambi, I imagine there's got to be a little bit of tension here. I mean, yeah, you got through the Froghemoth easy enough with Arame's crippling lightning bolts, keeping it from its multi-attack and all that. I mean, that was lucky.
Perfect storm of damage.
Cooperation.
Copernicus was swallowed by the beast. Did
This is
not
true.
enjoy that.
So now before you is a locked gate. I think Zaves had the key.
I had already opened it.
You had already opened it. And did I told you above the door what was written? There was an inscription above the
didn't look
door. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We didn't look examine it. I got a brief glimpse of the wooden platforms and everything and the altar towards the end.
Okay.
But I didn't actually go over and examine everything like any type of inscription.
Sure. So while Zaves went in and he's examining this room in here, I imagine you guys are kind of filing in behind him. Irame and Quincy, on your way in, you see an inscription above the door written in Old Omuan. Why don't you give me maybe a history check to see if you can maybe decipher it?
10.
9.
No bonuses?
That is my bonus.
That was with my bonus.
Okay.
I have a +8.
Can Copernicus take a look at it? Even though I'm not trained in history?
Yeah, it'll be a higher DC for you.
A 5.
All right.
Next
So
time we should do an aid, maybe.
Yeah.
Something.
Akramas is thankfully with you and can speak. Read Old Omuan. That was part of his pitch to you guys.
Oh, you didn't want to speak up before we all tried to read it.
I wanted you guys to have a chance at glory. Orvex takes out his spectacles, rubs off some grime. He puts them on. He brings a finger up to the inscription. Kubazan urges us to tread without fear and to give back as much as we take.
Ooh, sounds like an Indiana Jones switcheroo.
It does sound like the old switcheroo.
He says, I wish there was more to it, but I do believe that is all it says.
Could you repeat that, Orvex?
Yes, of course. Kubazan urges us to tread without fear and to give back as much as we take.
And who was Kubazan?
This is the shrine. Kubazan is the shrine that we're in, right?
Right, but the last shrine had the Commandant on it for a creature.
Orvex doesn't know. He says, it is still unclear to me which role Kubazan plays. Perhaps if we explore further, that information will be revealed.
I thought it was the frog.
This shrine has like a deep pit and a bunch of...
Could we bring up the
I'm going to
photo?
bring it right back in as we go in here. So, Zaves, I'm going to read this to you again as you come in. As you enter, steps descend to a ledge that overlooks a pit. At glancing down, it's complete darkness. And as you guys file in, anyone with dark vision peering down will reveal the floor is roughly 30 feet down. And you can make out a myriad of sharpened spikes protruding from the floor.
We have a barbed pit, Hirame will say as she looks down.
Across the way, okay, so an alcove on the far wall holds a pedestal with a stone cube resting on it. All right? And behind it on the wall is a relief carved into the back of the alcove that shows a monstrous frog with tentacles fighting a crane.
Copernicus will cast dancing lights and send them towards the frog monstrosity statue.
As the lights are passing along the walls, you see above each of those wooden boards protruding from the wall going around, there's a frog face protruding from the wall above each board.
This is the tread without fear. We must have to move quickly across these boards. Perhaps if we are too slow and fearful.
What if you just fly across the room?
That's what I was considering. However, we might want to go back and check the pond for what we can replace the cube with. That might be the second part. Give back what we take. We need something that is like the cube, do we not?
Yeah, so looking at the cube that because the only thing you really have for reference is the cube of Shigambi.
Yep.
Looking at that cube and figuring out its weight, it's about a half a pound.
The cube we have is about a half a pound.
Mm-hmm.
Would one of Cappy's old polished stones be about the same? Remember my stones I used to cast magic stone on and throw?
Yeah, I do remember those. Maybe a few of them. You could probably weigh out a few of them.
Have we been throwing our empty potion bottles, just smashing them and forgetting them? Or could we fill up an empty vial with some water? Because
There
we
we
would
go.
be able to measure almost a pretty accurate weight.
Perhaps a water skin if we don't have a...
Yeah.
I like that potion ball idea.
If not, we can empty one of these pain elixir vials.
Those are potions of cure moderate wounds or whatever.
right.
They're like
I was
the
like,
next.
you could empty yours.
Empty it right into my mouth.
The reason I mentioned going back to the pond after defeating the frog, if this is indeed a puzzle, if these shrines are puzzles, then there would be something. You would think there would be something to replace the cube with. Maybe.
In a video game, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. But we should search the frog. We never did that, I guess. Did anything come out of its belly? Any treasure? Or...
I don't think so. Let me see.
Would it be in the water anyway?
Yeah, if somebody wants to dive into the murk.
Not Copernicus.
Cappy, be brave.
Several, you need more time in the water to get acclimated, get over your fears.
No, you don't find anything of value.
Okay. So perhaps the potion bottle or water skin would be best. Would you allow us to use an empty potion bottle? Would you say that we had them,
Sure.
or would you prefer?
8 ounces of water would be a half of a pound.
I don't really picture you guys as the type to like quaff a potion and smash it like an angry teenager against the stone. Well, maybe Copernicus.
because we never mentioned keeping them.
That's
I
something
would
that
be
never comes up.
yeah. It wouldn't bother me if you were like, no, you don't have one of those. Use a water skin or something.
But we got him.
So yeah.
All right, so you do your best to weigh out the bottle of water, and now you are face to face with a pit with spikes at the bottom and boards encircling the room leading to this pedestal.
I think the safest bet is for me to fly over, or I could.
Now each board is about 4 feet. You'd have to make if you were to navigate the boards, the beams, as it were, it would be an acrobatics check.
I could also send one of you up. I don't have to cast it on myself. I could cast the spell on one of you.
I was born without wings because I'm not meant to fly. I'll keep my 2 feet on the ground.
If you wish to fly, that is perfectly fine. It's more of a guarantee. I am quite agile if you want to try to save your spell.
What do you think, Zavril? Should we try to navigate the boards, or should someone just fly over?
I would say somebody should just fly.
All right.
I mean, what's everybody's acrobatic? Who's the most acrobatic of you?
I think it was
Zaves?
Zavril.
Was.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
I don't know if he still is
Yes,
or not.
I get a +6.
+9.
Oh.
Wow.
Ooh, I could meet you over there.
Well,
One
you would
bad
know
roll,
by
though.
you'd be able to judge the difficulty of that task. It's the DC is going to be 5 plus the distance in feet between 2 beams, so it's going to be what, DC 20?
Ooh.
It's a
15
Damn.
feet between the
they're
beams?
4 feet. Oh no, wait, it's 5 plus the distance, so DC
That was
9.
9.
So I'd have to roll a 1.
No.
Basically.
Yeah.
But how many times do you have to roll it to get over there and back?
And I also believe, according to the inscription, you might have to do it quickly.
I am fairly confident, Erme.
We could send you, and if you are to fail,
You may have to fetch me from
I might have to fetch you.
And he does have that fancy ring he found.
Do I?
Your featherfall ring.
Yes. Quite right, Copernicus. Thank you for reminding me.
I almost chose Featherfall, but I didn't know if I'd be able to use it as a
Reaction.
reaction if I started to fall while flying.
I think so. We'd have to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so am I rolling?
Do
Yeah,
it.
you're
Rolling
doing
an
it.
Jump out
acrobatics
there.
Check. All right. Without further discussion, Quincy leaps out. Natural 18 for a total of 27.
All right, you leap and successfully make it onto the first board.
How many boards again?
You gotta go.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 5. I mean, I'm cutting it.
Okay, so I get 2 20s. I'm just going to roll 2 at a time.
You're cutting it?
Yeah. I mean, look at the picture I'm dealing with. Count all of them and see. You tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right?
Okay, so I got 18 with 1, 29 with a natural 20 with
All right.
another.
So you notice as you're going, you leap off the first board and you hear, and the plank retracts into the wall behind
almost
you.
wondered.
Yeah.
Because the faces, he pointed out the faces
Yeah.
were along it.
And move without fear. You gotta hurry.
Well, that's it. You know, you leapt across as soon as you left the first plank, it retracted into the wall, and that's it.
I'll just keep
And then you
moving toward.
Yep, and each one consecutively, the one behind you retracts. So the path behind you is becoming eliminated as you move forward.
Perhaps we'll need your fly spell after all, here, mate.
Well, if you're going around one side of the room, you come back on the other one, hopefully.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Very well.
Yep, that's the way
You
it
got
looks.
one more check, right?
Yeah.
Or two more?
Two more.
A couple more, yeah.
Yeah.
You must hurry.
All right. An 18 and a 13.
All right, two more, and you make it across gracefully to the other side. Now you see a better view of that relief, the picture of the Kubazan.
Yeah, I'll recast my dancing lights for him and send them over.
Yep, the orbs are dancing around. You see that cube is resting on the pedestal, and yeah, you see that relief with the image.
I'm going to shout back to the rest of the party and say, this relief work is really quite fascinating. It appears that the artist had quite the delicate and loving hand. And he's going to spend just a couple of minutes admiring the relief work while everybody's waiting for him to get the cube.
Yeah, you wipe off some dust and you see an inscription. You see engravings, and you now read it. When evening came, a wily Ebli stepped from his reed hut. He didn't like the Omoans, but without them he'd have no one to play his tricks on. And so, Papa Zottle agreed to help the dying people. He plucked a marsh frog from the murky waters, and he sent it to reason with Uptau. But the marsh frog was angry and decided to wrestle with the god instead. This amused Uptau, so he gave the frog tentacles to make it even stronger. And when Kubazan, the frog-hemoth, returned to Papazotl, the Ebli, he chased Papazotl into the swamp with his new tentacles.
Fool frog, trying to fight a god.
So Ebli is essentially probably in the pond.
The wily Ebli. Let me see if I could get a picture of that.
Yeah, what's the Ebli?
I like the
The
I like the
Kubazan
word.
was the frog hemoth then.
Maybe the statue that was in the pond resembles the Ebli?
Ooh,
Or do you think
that's a cool
the
concept.
frog hemoth that we fought is the frog hemoth? Is it one of many? Is it a
That's
unique
the
creature?
Kubazan, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, these birds aren't very nice, are they? I think I've read about these.
Oh, so how do you say? I would call that an eblis.
It looks kind of like a crane, maybe.
Yeah, if you guys want to describe that to the listeners.
Oh, looks like a crane with a black and red crest on its head.
A bearded neck.
Yeah, what are those ones in real life we see around here? I see them sometimes, and they got
Blue
huge
herons?
wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
huge wingspan.
Yeah.
I like them. They move slowly when they're on
Yeah.
the ground.
Their wing flaps are like one huge flap.
Yeah.
You see their body bob in the air.
They're trying to take off.
Yeah. Because when they flap their wings, they lose a little height. Takes so long.
Yeah, so you gather this must be Papazotl, the Ebli.
Papa Zottle.
And Kubazan was the frog-hemoth.
I wonder if we fought the Kubazan.
I've never seen or heard of such a creature before. It was very unique.
Quincy's going to turn his attention to the pedestal, and he's going to kind of line up his face like he's looking at the cube and looking at how it's set on the pedestal. And he's going to hold up the water bottle. Does he see? Can I make a perception check? Just to see, like, if it looks like I need to do the switcheroo, or if there's anything tricky to it.
Honestly, it looks like it's a cube resting on this pedestal.
Is
So, I
it a
mean,
cube
this-
that looks like the cube we already have, in a way? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
I'm kind of suspecting that the riddle was for the planks. I mean, we know that they were retracting. But just in case, he's still going to swap the water for the cube.
Why don't you give me a sleight of hand check just to see how you perform?
Oh, God. Figures. 9.
Okay,
You
no
wanna-
no big deal. This is just to. I mean, you can't fail at swapping something. This is just to give me a. So as you remove the cube and you see the pedestal begin to lift, right? As that's happening, you guys see the frog mouths start to open above each of the planks, and then when he puts the potion of the water down, the pedestal starts to go back down into place. It goes down a little too much, but the mouths, they close and then they start to open a little bit, but then they stop.
I'd hurry back, Quincy.
That was very stressful, Quincy.
Yes, you're telling me. Quincy will then make his way to the other side of the room where the planks are still there and try to make his way back to the party.
Yeah. All right. Give me a check.
One at a time, or do you want...
Give me a couple.
Fucking A. All right, so the first one's 27,
Okay, so you make it across on the first one.
but then I rolled a natural 1 on the second one.
Well, natural
The
one's
only
not
thing
a,
that you
it's
could
not an
fail.
automatic fail, but what does that equate to?
Oh, 10.
Right, and the DC was
Goddamn.
9, so right.
I thought
I thought
one
it
was
was
an automatic fail.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't sure if we were doing
Is-
a house rule that way.
There's no point of him rolling anything then.
You get a +1 or +9.
I
and
do now after my new rogue level.
All right. Yeah, I mean, no, there's no. I don't think 1 is an automatic fail.
Have we ever
Should've
played?
been.
The question is, have we played it in the past as an automatic fail? Is the
I may
question.
not have come up against this on skill checks.
Well, on the contrary, 20 isn't necessarily an automatic. You know, it's nothing. You just pass, right? It's a pass or fail.
I'm just saying there was no point for him to roll any checks the
Right.
entire
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I mean, I thought we were
Of
doing
course there is
1s and 20s,
suspense.
but we don't have to.
yeah.
Well,
Fake suspense.
I'll throw it to the group. I mean, it was never a house rule. I don't think that it was an automatic fail on a 1. but,
I'm not
I mean,
passionate either way with it. I
I
just
thought
think
ones
whatever
were
we
fails.
did do should be consistent.
I don't think we've worked with critical fails at all, whereas I don't think skill checks would count against anything other than the DC, personally.
Right.
Okay. So
Well, that's
we're
how
good.
it is by the rules, anyway.
All right.
So
We will proceed.
as you
I'm just wondering what we were talking about in our special episode 19 when we introduced the 19 as a crit, and we talked about 20s maybe still automatically being a success for
oh right.
skill checks. If that then means
Ones would have to
ones
be an
would have to
automatic fail.
fail.
I think that might be a balance that has to be there, but
I'm afraid to say anything because last time I agreed to shit, my character almost died because of it. So whatever you guys want to do, I think ones should be fails though. Like it's a 1 on a skill
I like
check.
the idea of having. Yeah, I like it. I like that idea. But again, whatever the group wants.
well, let's leave it. I mean, is anyone particularly passionate? Should we just let the DM decide?
If I have to decide, I'm gonna roll on it. So
That's a good idea.
that's what
Roll
I do.
on it. Or
I mean, there are 5 of us. Quincy votes ones or fails.
Yeah, I'll go with you, Quincy.
Zavril?
I'm probably going to stick with the rules here and say that it does not
Okay,
for skill checks.
totally valid.
John's gonna say what Zavril said.
Doesn't matter. He has the
Now
right
I'm
to.
stuck.
Oh fuck! Are
okay.
you the tiebreaker?
I am. That's the problem.
Why do I automatically agree with Zavril?
Because I just
'Cause
know
you
you're
know
going
me.
to.
Mm.
So I already know your vote. So
But if you have the same vote,
Given-
you can be happy about that. You know what I mean?
given that 20s are an automatic pass for skill checks, no matter what,
They are
have.
not, though.
They're not.
We may have
We
said
we
that in
might,
episode
but for
19.
our house rule, if that is a house rule, then I think that ones have to be a fail. I think there needs to be balance there.
balance in the force.
Yes.
Quincy, no.
So Quincy's gonna fail.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it adds for a lot better gameplay if there is a chance of failure. But
Okay, so is that the consensus? So we can
Yeah,
get
we
it
can
going.
move on.
Yeah, let's move it.
All right, Quincy, as you jump across this, you jump on the first one successfully, and you jump across on the second one. And as you do you guys see this little bird flying in, and it lands on the bottle of water.
No.
Oh, what? You're gonna go all out because we made that rule change. No,
And Quincy,
fucking
you hear
place
this
gonna
too
collapse.
because you're in this chamber. You hear a bird pretty decently. You know, it's like in the house. Birds are pretty loud. You know, when one gets in.
We're all staring.
Yeah,
at
and
that
it just lands on the bottle of water, and it's
No.
and it looks down and starts drinking out of the water. And Quincy, you turn around, and as you go to turn around to see this, you lose your balance.
Now, Featherfall, the Ring of Featherfall. What does it take to activate this? Is this a reaction? Does it matter if it's an action or reaction? If
Or
it's
does
not
it just
an
happen
initiative?
because you have it on your finger?
Right.
And to get this straight, when the bird lands on it, it starts sinking, right? So it's too much weight at this point.
Okay, wait, you're bringing up Featherfall?
Well, I gotta find it in a ring, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it too. Whoever gets there first. I'm going to items on Beyond.
I'm not even trying. Look at all you go.
A falling creature's rate of descent slows to 60 feet per round.
I don't think that's the issue.
No.
No.
One
Basically,
reaction casting time.
That which makes sense. Otherwise, the spell might be almost useless.
Yeah.
If the rate of descent slows, what does that mean for reaching?
You
the
take
ground?
no damage from falling. However,
Unless you get impaled.
Yeah, unless you fall on a spike.
you do have to
Which-
make... You take no fall damage, which would have been 3d6, but because of the spikes, you need to give me a dex check.
Ooh.
To avoid sticking your feet.
Yep. 24.
There you go.
24, yeah, you definitely see them coming, and you're able to land between them easy enough.
Cappy's already digging out rope to throw down to him.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Quincy?
And at the commotion, the bird flutters off and back out of the shrine. You see the bottle, like, when it launches off, the bottle shakes a little bit.
That'll get one's heart murmuring.
Get back up here.
And Quincy will navigate through the spikes to reach the wall where Copernicus has a rope waiting.
You see any treasure down there? Any dead bodies?
I'll look at the spikes. Do I see any, like, skeletons, skulls, anything like that?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
You're down there.
I see a couple... there's nothing written in here for it, but I imagine somebody tried to get this
Somebody's
thing.
been impaled here before.
Nah.
Shock scare scenes in horror movies. He looks over and the skull's there.
If there's
like-
any of them with pouches, Quincy will only take one coin. And when he reaches up, he'll flip the coin over to Copernicus.
You don't find much in the way of loot. Well,
So you just give me one of your coins then?
yeah, I'd say you find some skeletons stuff. Let's say you find a purse of maybe 12 gold pieces.
Yeah, Quincy's not going to loot the corpse entirely. He's just going to take one gold piece. And when he climbs up the rope, he's going to flip it over to Copernicus and say, "There's your treasure, Copernicus." And he'll just have a grim look on his face.
Only
Yeah.
9 more to get my money back from him.
And why don't you give me an investigation check?
Are we
24.
24. Yeah, so pretty much while you're down there, you notice a few other skeletons, maybe total 5 skeletons impaled on spikes. The one that had the coin pouch was against the wall that Copernicus's rope is on. It almost looks like you're piecing it together. It almost looks like somebody had managed to slip in, climb down, and loot what they could. And then, maybe they had gotten back up, but then maybe had fallen in the process, and all the loot remained.
So now he's up and we're all there. Let's check this other puzzle cube out. Is it just like the other one?
Yeah, let's
We're-
examine them together.
Yeah, the
Hold them up to the
Kubazan
light.
puzzle cube. I'll bring it over to the screen. It looks like it's engraved on it is a froghemoth.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is a cool engraving.
awesome.
It's like a Monster Hunter picture.
Now I want to see, what's the other one we have? Shigambi?
Yup, you got Shigambi and Kubazan now.
If I was one of these temples, I would be Kubazan.
Let me see if I can raise the
Look at the
image
teeth.
of the other one.
Detail is amazing.
What is on its head?
The eye stalks.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Good
It looks
call.
like smoke coming out of like a volcano.
Oh, that one's cooler.
No. The
Yeah, it is.
Shinabi?
No, that's the Kamadan,
Yeah.
the leopard with
Tentacles are a pretty common theme among these creatures.
Commandant.
If the next one we fight also has tentacles,
Hmm.
that'll be strange.
the. I don't know what I would do.
Be quite the coincidence.
Yeah. So, in your satchel, you drop the Kubazan cube in with the cube of Shigambi.
That's 2.
2 cubes out of 9.
Only 7
Yes.
more to go.
And we can be sure the Red Wizards have at least 1 at this point.
Quincy turns to look at Orivex. Would it be a safe assumption that they may have more?
If they equate to us anyway in prowess, then I believe it would be a wise assumption to say that they had retrieved another one of the 9.
So what you're saying then is they only have 1 still.
Or 2. 1 and 2.
Are you saying we have accomplished these deeds with luck, Zavril?
Or that the Red Wizards do not have quite the prowess that we have?
Yes, Quincy gets it.
Do not underestimate the Red Wizards, Mr. Don Tracker.
I'm pretty sure Cappy's sitting at 5 hit points from that battle.
Oh,
And
that's
no
right.
Yeah, I'm
Spell
pretty
slots.
certain too.
And Riga says, I am a bit wounded as well. I am glad that you were able to retrieve the cube. I am tired of these dungeons.
I'm feeling a little woozy, man.
All right, let's go around the table then. Who needs some heals?
And I need a drink.
Perhaps we should just rest before going to the next.
A short rest?
Forgive me, May has a cold.
Yeah, we can do a short rest, and I
Yeah.
can use. I have plenty of hit dice.
A short rest is a long for a high elf, right? I could get my spell slots back in that. No, it's an hour. I think
Yeah,
I need
short.
4 hours. I apologize.
And Quincy will play his lute with the Song of Rest. Anybody who spends hit die will get an extra d6.
Okay.
So what are you guys heading back to the guardhouse, your
Yes.
camp?
Yeah, let's just go to the guardhouse and rest. We can rest for 4 hours. What time of day is it? Does
I
anybody
think it's
know?
only 2 hours
Hey.
for a short rest.
It's an hour.
Quincy,
for
I'll
short.
play with you.
I
She's saying she needs 4.
I think high elves. How much do they need to regain their? They meditate so they can gain them back faster, and I thought it was half the time as a full rest.
Yeah, high elves get long rests is 4 hours for high elves.
For me to gain all my
For
stuff
elves,
back.
I think in
and
general.
it's still the 17th of hammer.
17th.
Yes,
Or is it the 16th?
and this is the morning, right? So I could rest for 4 hours, and we could still go to another shrine
Okay.
Yeah.
if you
Well,
guys don't mind. What do you
if
think,
it makes-
Zavril?
If it makes you feel any better, I'm still full hit points and have his temporary hit points on me still.
I still have the 10 hit points too.
Well, I'm going to heal. Use 2 hit dice and heal up.
From leveling up, I gained a 3rd level spell back too, so I'm not in horrible shape.
And my last hit.
So we could just move on to the next shrine if we so
You know,
choose.
Come to think about it, I might actually get rid of my healing spell because that thing is way too fucking broken.
I could still use a little bit of healing. I used up all my hit dice, and I'm still down 11.
I'll throw 1 Cure Light Wounds first level. Well, if we're doing yeah, I'll just do that. That will be 7.
Okay, that's good enough.
I know we've talked about this a million times, but how do you regain hit die once per long rest? Or 1 die per long rest? No. Fuck.
Half your level, I believe, per long rest.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, we get another hit
You get
dice
half
per
your
level.
hit die back, right? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you get half
Yeah.
your level's hit die back during a full rest.
No, so you guys would get 3 hit die back during a full rest.
Do you get more hit die as you level up?
You
Yeah,
get 1.
You get 1 per level.
Oh.
So I still actually have 1 left after all that.
Which, you know,
Wait, so
which,
I should
which
have
isn't
6?
really as important right now. But when you get into, when you start getting into dungeons, yeah, I think we all talked about this, and I always count it as a house rule. But if you're in a dungeon, You can only take short rests unless you leave,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're in
Makes
dangerous
sense to me. I don't like the
territory.
idea of people taking full rests while in a dungeon.
Going
I don't know.
full-
It's
full
weird.
sleep
It's just
mode.
weird to me.
Yeah.
you know?
I think you can, but you're gonna have to do special shit to do it.
Yeah.
With his hut, we
Maybe
might be able to get
closer a
away with
chance
it.
of
Right.
maybe another like a higher
That's
chance of
true.
an encounter.
Yeah,
or,
that's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
you
We'll
would
work it
think
in.
afterwards there'd be a fucking army of goblins if we were in a goblin cave around
Yeah.
our tent. Depending on what's
Yeah,
down
maybe
there.
I'll think of something that could happen.
Make it
as
more
as
difficult, but
right.
allow it.
Maybe traps might get reset previously
That's a
wouldn't
good
have.
behind the screens thing. There was 2 good behind the screen things. Charlie, may I have a piece of paper when you sit back down? You don't have to right now.
Yeah, cool. While you're resting, any reflection, any character, you guys want to take the floor for a bit?
What is our next destination of shrines?
Orvex pipes up. He says, I know to the north there's the shrine of Ijin, and I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, but that would be the next one in line on this side of the river anyway.
That's right.
Jin.
While we're
Now,
all
if
sitting,
you'll excuse me, I must attend to my notebook for a
Kubazan
moment.
was bravery and Shigambi was wisdom.
what was
We don't know what Ijin was.
Perhaps we'll find some clues when we get there. Although I am not seeing the relationship between the gods or the demigods that these shrines are dedicated to and the writings that we've seen on the wall.
tread without fear, bravery?
Yes, that's true.
And the frog challenged Ubtao in the story that's foolish yet
But brave.
Yes.
And I guess it does take some bravery to fight the gladiators.
Well, that was
Well, that
wisdom.
Oh, that
Quincy.
was wisdom.
And we did not
Alright.
go in there with much wisdom. We went about that fight all wrong.
That was Charlie talking, not
That was
Quincy.
Charlie talking. Charlie's all mixed up.
Let's go to Candy Mountain.
While we're all talking, Yurme's going to be sketching the cubes into her journal. If you look at her now, I imagine by now Yurme's glasses are probably cracked in some places, maybe taped in some spots. After she fell a couple times and had visions and fainted and lost her
up.
glass and threw up.
Hey, May, if I may be so kind as to take a look at your glasses, I could fix them for you.
Oh, thank you. And Yurme will remove her glasses, kind of embarrassed at the shape they're in, and hand them to Quincy.
Yeah, and Quincy will just cast Mending, which is a cantrip. It takes a minute to cast, but he gets to, repair the small breaks in the glasses.
Putting them back on, Yurme looks down at her journal and at the picture she was drawing and winces and starts to start over.
Good as new.
While that's going on, Riga moves over and sits down next to you, Zavril. And he hands you his wine flask. And he says, I can't even imagine the horrors that they had put you through, my friend. I know that when me and Zimwabi went in to rescue you, we seen some things that would make one concerned. Perhaps you would share a drink with me, my friend.
I will nod to Riga, and I will take the wine flask and take a swig from it.
There's plenty more where this came from. I had stumbled upon a small cache when I was with Zimwabi looking for you.
I do appreciate it. I did meet someone interesting in there, or a couple interesting Yuanti in there. There's one that helped me out, and I'm gonna actually remove the vial that she gave me.
Riga will nod and say, I know this one you speak of, this Svitlangi. She is the one that has led Zimwabi and I to your rescue. I do not trust her, but what she says was correct. We had found you, right where she said you would be.
I wonder why she let you go, Zavril.
Perhaps there's an alternative motive, Mr. Don Tracker.
Ulterior motives.
Ulterior motive.
Earlier today I said interior motive.
Did I actually sense that, whoever she was doing it for, that there was strife amongst the Yuante, or the Malicents, or I'm trying to remember that conversation.
Why don't you give me an insight check?
22.
Nice.
Yeah, you definitely, thinking back on it now with a clear head, as far as you remember anyway, if the details are correct, it could have been a fracture in their ranks, for sure.
I mean, because I did pick up that she was helping me out in regards to someone else. It seemed like there was kind of a split between the Malicent and that I was talking to. It's still kind of cloudy though. Why?
If there's infighting amongst the Yuan-Ti, then perhaps there's hope for Schultz.
Is there anything else you want to tell us? Like perhaps why you would be snooping around behind my back at times?
Oh, you found out about that, huh?
Irame's shoulders are around her elf ears with being so tense about the conversation.
And we'll see you next time on the Natty 19 podcast.
So I'm pretty certain Zavrel's going to start developing a complex every time he hears Rosnasi's name. I mean, like, I seriously, like, had nightmares about a cat of nine tails with fucking hooks on it. Little fucking grappling hooks. Like, that's one of my worst.
When he said there was little hooks on the end, like, you were okay until the hooks on the end.
I was fine
if you listen
until
to the
hooks.
recording and he mentions the hooks and you're like, oh no.
You don't understand. Like, I've had nightmares about stuff like that before. So screw that. Like, it affects me personally.
Oh no.
That's because when we were younger and I used to sleep over your house every weekend, I used to put little hooks next to your pillow.
He's been waiting. He's been festering
Feeding
this.
it this whole time.